of the 33 chosen passengers, Ramnat, Pandey, Humphrey and Sudama, they wouldn't let the poor driver drive in peace. They distracting him and wouldn't cease. While he driving, they hitting him some big cloud. So he stopped the maxi and put them out. And to discuss their fate, they went to drink us straight by a clock called 88. The driver called his sweet mouth friend Flash Gordon to give him some driving lessons. Flash appointed himself as the conductor, pushing around them passenger. Meanwhile the car running about helter-skelter. Pedestrians started to scatter. Ellis Clark had to jump and run to stay alive. He says the new driver cannot drive. Questioning me so much about the driver. You want proof to show he can't maneuver. Well boy, the first month he get this driving job, you know the man.
Igwe, you're late today. You're late, I'm blaming you. What are you saying?
Igwe, take your fault for yourself. Good day. Listeners, good day.
Welcome to Independent Talk.
Independent Talk for yet another Sunday, 16th of October 2022. First things first. We on Independent Talk says happy belated birthday to the mother of the leader of the party, Dr. Mitchell. And it's a splendid achievement for 100 years. It is not an easy achievement. Mm-hmm. And we pray that she go from strength to strength. And it's a testament of her strength that she has made 100 years. So first things first. Yes, folks, Independent Talk today, we will discuss the issues confronting what we have to deal with, and ultimately the bread and butter issues of people in this country. The program today will take the format of our deliveries. We'll play some clips and we'll add our thinking to it. But before we get into that, I want to give the definition for 2 words. And at the end of this program, you, the listeners, will understand what it is. The first one is reckless. Reckless is of a person and the actions without taking or caring about the consequence of the action. And the second one I want to deal with is victimization, the action of singling out someone for cruel or unjust treatment. Folks, in recent times, as a matter of fact, in the last week, we came to the realization that the National Democratic Congress cabal has proved us on a real FM right. When we said they were inexperienced, they were incompetent, they lack institutional knowledge, and they would exhibit youthful arrogance. Persons thought it was only about politics and we were only politicking. But we have seen in less than 6 months that has borne out youthful arrogance. Case in point where they was on radio saying who they're going to jail and so on, inexperience, where they have to come back and agree with Dr. Mitchell when they were telling people Dr. Kit Mitchell was lying to the nation. And lack of institutional knowledge, that is why they said it was the stroke of a pen to fix contract. And they have now come and say it is not so. So they have confirmed what we say. they have vindicated Real FM and Dr. Keith Mitchell utterances. So the first clip I would play today, because I want people to be clear and I don't want it to be sung like me saying it. I would play the clip with Dr. Mitchell when he explained the whole issue about pension.
Ready for it?
Yeah.
That government has taken the decision to not appeal the recent pension ruling, despite strong legal advice that there are good enough grounds for an appeal. However, the Prime Minister added that not appealing the judgment means that government will have to pay out millions of dollars to public servants, which, if not managed strategically, can completely derail the country's economy.
Regarding the issue of payment of state pensions, unless we manage the process well and set out a viable roadmap under which the state could meet its obligations, it can completely derail the economy, sink thousands into dire poverty, and set us back many years and cripple the future development plans.
Dr. Mitchell provided preliminary figures of what the payout would cost government.
While the fiscal obligations of the court ruling are still being tabulated, preliminary indication, and these are just preliminary numbers, are that we will have to find at least $465 million. Sister brothers, take that in. $465 million. That's not all. And then on average, we'd have to find $120 more million each year for at least the next 37 years.
Prime Minister Mitchell says government has also set up a broad-based advisory committee that will provide further technical advice and other general guidance on the issue.
They will use their expertise and experiences in studying the entire issue and the decision that the government has made, with an objective to make specific recommendations to the government on how we move forward. That committee will be headed by economist and experienced global public servant Dr. Spencer Thomas. And it include also economist Dr. Carrie Grenade and Dr. Patrick Antoine, and a former Chief Justice of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Sir Dennis Byron. There will also be a fifth representative coming from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. The governor will inform us.
The advisory committee held its first meeting on Tuesday morning. The committee is expected to make specific recommendations to government within 3 months. Reporting for GBN News, Beverly Tellisford.
Do you have it, Igwe?
Yes, listeners. I now bring in my co-host, the guru, KB. KB, you listen to that clip. And what is your taking away from that clip?
Good afternoon, listeners of Real FM. Master Carl, thank you for having me. I listened to that clip. And what a team Dr. Mitchell put forward to help guide the process. Competent team. Fellow NNPites, we want you to stand up. We want you to be strong. We want you to support the new National Party in going forward. Give all your support going forward. Now, Master Carl, I grew up in a GNP home, you know. Then I embraced the new Joel movement. And we were embarked on a propaganda campaign condemning all Geary policies. sell our policy to the nation, convincing them we can do better. And Gary policies was wrong. Spearheading that attack, that campaign through this country, was no other person than the late Comrade Maurice Bishop. In his one of his first public address in Tivoli, at the Tivoli Society Hall, after his 1-hour speech on Assembly of the People, a bright young student from McDonald College named Trapper McDonald Judge stood up boldly and fearlessly and said to Maurice Bishop, "Sir, I read a book the other day. After completing that book, I listened to you, but I trust no politician again in my life." Bishop smiled, then tightened the muscles on his face and asked McDonald Judge, "What is the name of the book you read? Is it Animal Farm?" McDonald Judge said, "Yes, Animal Farm." Those who criticize Gary now, in my opinion, if they take power, they will do worse than Gary. And we all was upset with McDonald Judge. But when the time come for Bishop to deliver, he did worse 10 times than Eric Matthew Gary. He was able to convince the people of this country that he will be the antithesis of Eric Matthew Gary. And when we lie in our prison cell, most of us realize McDonald Judge was right. The book Animal Farm, if you read it, you see Maurice Bishop in print. You oppose, and then you do worse. We came to realize, no, that is why we must study our history well. And mistake we made in the past, we must ensure that the people of this country, people in our party, our voters, don't repeat the mistake. But it seems as though we're easy to forget. Look at that clip. And look at listen what Dr. Mitchell said. They oppose it. Every one of them opposes it and say, "Look, man, we don't need no committee now. The court say pay. The most arrogant way of reasoning. Only to realize, recently, the minister, Sister Clara Joseph, in Parliament, after condemning this group of people, this committee, now asking the trade union and other stakeholders, watch, this thing is not NDC thing, you know. This is Grenada thing. We want everybody to come together to make sure we manage the process well, so that we don't derail the economy. The same thing Dr. Mitchell was saying. The same thing. Dr. Mitchell was saying, "Look, Imani, I cannot make you all prominent. I cannot raise you all salary now. Contract workers, I cannot make you all prominent. I cannot raise your salary now." What was the reaction of the NDC? "Don't worry, Kit Mitchell. He want to keep you all in poverty so he could use you all." And Deacon Mitchell, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, you watch the young people in the eye and you tell them you will make them permanent, you will raise their salary. You tell the Imani the same thing. You tell the contract workers the same thing. No, you are ashamed to come out and apologize. You are ashamed to look at them in the eye. So you're using Claret because she have less shame. So you lose using her in the Senate to say, hey, Imani, it's a mistake we make. We cannot make you permanent. We cannot increase your salary. Contract workers, is a mistake we make. We cannot make you permanent. We cannot increase because that will bloat the public service. No, you sell that to the Grenadian people before the election. No, you afraid, Prime Minister Deacon, to watch the young people in the eye and say, look, I told you a lie, or I make a mistake. I want to apologize. But you must apologize because the young people in this country trust you with the truth. You sound believable. You sound like baby Jesus. Every time you open your mouth, people cannot imagine you will tell a lie to the young people in this country because they depend on you for the liberation. They depend on you for guidance. The destiny of this country is in your hand. The expectation very high because you promise a pie in the sky and they drink the broth. They believe. No. Today, Sister Claret Joseph, admitting in Parliament all what NNP was doing was the correct way, the correct thing they was doing. No way we could have made Imani permanent. No way we were able to make contract workers permanent. But you said, with the stroke of a pen, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, like you have a golden pen, a magic pen, we will make you permanent. I wonder what happened to that golden pen. I wonder what happened to that magic pen. It disappeared. And you are ashamed now to face the young people and tell them you make a mistake. So using Claret, because Claret have less shame, to go to Parliament and admit they cannot make contract workers permanent because they will bloat the service. Because the IMF want them and draw a line in the sand and say you can't cross that because you won't be able to maintain it. You would not be able to maintain it. Pay pension, pay workers, run the country. You ain't able. But the most arrogant and most cabuse, ramgoat reasoner ever here for a long time is from Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell. When he said, I come here to pay debt. I come here to service people. I mean, this is the most short statement I hear for a long, long time. How you could borrow people money and you don't want to pay back? How you could borrow money from the World Bank, IMF and CDB and you don't want to service the debt? You ain't come here to service debt. You come here to service people. Those NDC clap. But that clap, not for long. They understand the danger of that. I went to school, I was in ABC, the lowest class. And they give you sums and you borrow and you don't pay back your sums, what's wrong? tell you most right. When you borrow, you must pay back. But it seems as though Deacon Mitchell feel he ain't have to pay back. He come here to service people and not debt. No. He was sailing in smooth waters all the time. Because he made $530 million they waiting for him. He made a lot of mega project. He just have to visit and ensure the completion of this project. He didn't have to boss his head. He was able to charter that ship in smooth waters. But now the waters start getting choppy. It start getting rough. Deacon Mitchell start to ball all kind of amwebeke. Because they could only navigate in smooth waters. No, you have to navigate in choppy waters. And Master Carl, that is the test of a good leader. When you're able to navigate in difficult time, when you're able to get out of a crisis, and how you get out of a crisis, that will be the test of a good leader. We're not asking for you to resign, Honorable Deacon Mitchell. We're not asking that, you know. What we asking you to do, the same way you watch the young people in their eyes and lie for them, the same way you watch the contract workers in their eyes and lie for them, we want you to come on national television and apologize and say, look, contract workers, I'm sorry. I cannot make you permanent. Imani, I'm sorry. I cannot make you permanent. Either you have no experience, or you do it deliberately. But we deserve answer. The people of this country, you must trust your leaders with the truth. Sunday must mean Sunday. Sunday must never mean Wednesday. And Wednesday must never mean Friday. You must trust them with this truth. And there should be political repercussion whenever the leader of a nation tells lies to his people. You must never get away scot-free. There should be consequence. And that consequence is election day. And NPI, once we stay together, once we stay united, once we focus, victory will be assured. Recently, I was informed, reliably informed, that over 800 contract workers will be sent home. I was informed, myself and others, between now and Christmas, we will no more be employed. At least, I want to thank them for treating us with a little bit of dignity by giving us notice. But the people in Pons, I felt it for them. They were given 3 days notice and tell them, don't come back. 3 days notice. You rob them of their dignity. But I'll tell you, I spoke to some of these workers and they become more militant, more resilient. And that victimization will only act as fertilizer to propel this struggle and ensure an NNP victory election. I convinced now than any other time that this government is a one-term government. Master Carl.
KB, but what else can I say? You put it down as them road boy and them not say like a tie upon a rim, man. Now, KB, those who refuse to learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
You're so correct.
we want persons of the National Democratic Congress and the DNA of the National Democratic Congress. I even said to persons, pregnancy and character is the same. They cannot be hidden forever. You must know and you must see. Now, KB, one of the main issues the National Democratic Congress used to sway or to woo or to trick people in Grenada to support them was the fact that they're going to pay pension. Now, they never indicate to persons who were the ones qualify for pension. So most Grenadians voted for pension and now finding out, KB, that they are not eligible for pension. So pension is not something for them. Now, when you're talking about the pension issue, it's always good to take it from then to now. You, KB, was part of the PRG for a while before you was unceremoniously imprisoned. And the think tank of the PRG, Bernard Could, in his wisdom, being an economist, recognized, one, pension was not a contributory something. Two, it's only a few of the elitists and lucky persons in this country once you become a permanent public worker.
Yeah.
Because you could be in the public service and do be permanent and not eligible for pension.
Yeah.
Like the rural constables and in police, they're not eligible for pension. So not everybody was eligible for pension. So the PRG then decided, okay, let's make this thing, because everybody working, everybody giving the best of the years. And when they come to retirement, why only some should get, when everybody contributes to the consolidated fund, which pays pension, but only a few persons from it. So the NIS was born.
Yeah.
So you contribute to the NIS, so it became a contributory pension scheme. So the 1950 laws was repealed and replaced by the NIS laws. No government from 1983 till this year had the backbone or the moral strength to see it as a moral obligation to the workers. So Dr. Keith Mitchell, before the election in 2018, and the NNP had a memorandum of understanding with the unions. Now, note the unions here, and we will talk a bit about the unions today, KB. Because the union always stay in bed with the NDC. So we go talk about them. Brian Grimes and others. Because you write all kind of thing, Brian Grimes. So now you can't talk, like your mouth blocked. You can't say nothing. You're telling people in the back door, they say how they have to cut down the wage bill. But you don't say that publicly. All you taking the people and their money, all you know, them not unionized, but all you collecting the union dues when they're in trouble now, I don't doing nothing. The union will come back to all it. So Dr. Keith Mitchell decided, okay, we're going to go ahead and the memorandum of understanding says to the unions, we want to reform pension. Because we recognize the whole thing with pension. So you want to reform it. But the union indicated, watch, we don't want no reform in our pension. We want with 25% gratuity. And folks, 25% gratuity is a forward payment on a pension. We should work itself out 12 and a half years. So let me give you a simple example, listeners. If we both qualify for pension and gratuity, and you decide to take gratuity, and I decide to take a straight pension, my pension will be more than yours. But in 12 and a half years, you should catch up with me. And you'll come back as the same thing as me. Simply put, so pension gratuity is like a loan, a forward payment. So the union say, what, we want 25% as written in the 1958 laws. So the union walk out. But the government at the end of the day say, watch, there are some people who need, so they started paying 70% of your last salary in arrangement with NI. So a lot of persons, over 100 persons was receiving those things already, KB. Then the ruling came. When the ruling came, the timing of the ruling was interesting, KB. That was just around the politicking and election time, silly season. The Honorable Deacon Mitchell and the NDC said, we go pay pension even if we have to borrow money to pay. That was their words. And as we're talking about the Prime Minister, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, I was having a discussion with somebody, KB, and they say he's the project manager of hate and victimization. So they say the PM don't mean Prime Minister. He mean the project manager of hate and victimization. I say, So in my discourse going forward, I will speak about the project manager. Because you can't let in all this stupidness happening in the country and you don't say nothing. So you is the project manager of hate and victimization. So the project manager of hate and victimization says, we go pay. Don't matter if we have to borrow the money, we go pay. Some of his advisors who used to work in the ministry one time and go and work other places, they say, yeah man, that's a good thing. When you borrow the money, you go come back in the economy. But I bank economics, they're not government economics. But it's done. The Right Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell says to them, watch. Union, listen. We will not appeal the ruling of the pension. However, this thing is unsustainable as written in the context of the 1958 laws. One must have an appreciation when the laws was written in 1958 for pension and gratuity. Maybe about 60 public workers he had, KB. He didn't have over 1,800 now what qualify for pension and gratuity. It was 60 yard. So then it was sustainable, but not now. Because if everybody what qualify for pension and gratuity should walk out tomorrow morning, KB, the cost in the state $295 million.
If they walk out today?
If all who qualify for pension and gratuity in the public service presently decide I walk in tomorrow morning,
and drop it up,
it's $295 million.
The treasury going up like the bug bank.
So Dr. Mitchell says, in his delivery, the clip I played, because I want people to hear, for them not to say not my words, I don't make up that. We need pension reform. We need a committee to advise on the way forward.
Yeah.
Because it is unsustainable. It would crash the economy. He asked the unions to come, sit down with me.
It's a national problem.
Let me fix a national problem. They say, no, we want the money and we want the money now. That was the slogan.
What they say now?
The union boss in teachers was on Lord Hailer saying, NNP must go. All kind of work to rule with teachers.
What they say now?
Listen, let me go. All kind of work to rule. He also indicated to them, we have to have a payment plan going forward. They say Keith Mitchell lying. They say Keith Mitchell had the money and he wicked. KB, toes tell you.
In the market?
In the market, how Keith Mitchell is a wicked man. He had the money in the treasury and he don't want to pay. So, that was Dr. Keith Mitchell warning then. That was even before. He said, listen, union come, let we sit down. let me work out a payment plan. But all the time, the union, they in bed with the NDC and the project manager of hate and victimization. So they don't want to hear. We want we money and we want we money now.
Why reneging now?
So why, I want to ask the AG, why the union must side with you now? So here is where we at in terms of that. But here on Real FM KB, we like to give facts. We don't like to just run him out. So Igwe, I want that clip with the AG.
I have it here ready for you.
Yeah, I want the clip with the AG for people to hear what the AG says.
You want it?
Yes.
The issue of contract work and how unfair contract work is, whether it's taking place in the public sector or the private sector, and the need to regularize as much as we can contract workers. But let's be straight. We're going to be straight with the nation. Contract work and pension reform must go together. Because we commit to pay the retroactive pension, and we are doing so. We understand the import of the ruling of the court. But so as not to do severe damage, perhaps even irreparable damage to our economy in the long run, we must work out a pension plan going forward that's sustainable. Because as it stands now, when people retire, they are entitled to NIS, that's public servants I mean, they are entitled to NIS plus government pension, and government pension is a non-contributory pension, which means the government alone pays everything into the pension fund, plus under the NIS law, the government pays 6% into the NIS, into the National Insurance Fund. So, going forward, that will be a really hefty sum that the IMF and everybody else have already warned is not sustainable going forward as it is. Plus, if we regularize contract workers across the board without at the same time treating with pension reform, what do? We bloat the public service, we expand the public service, and in so doing, the amount of people who would be eligible for pension. So we call on our friends in the labor movement to sit with us and work out an acceptable mode going forward, where everyone will be happy, where we will not leave an unbearable financial burden for those who come after us, and where those who retire going forward.
That's it.
So KB. KB.
I thought it was Dr. Mitchell that speaking there.
Yes.
Exactly what you were saying.
But KB, before she say,
She borrowed it Mitchell talking pattern?
No, KB, but before she say that, what was instructive now, when people speak, listen to the language. Listen to the language. She said, let's be straight.
With the green union.
But they had to be straight before.
No, not KB. So,
No, just
it's not they had to be straight before. So they did lying before.
But that's what I'm saying. They wasn't straight before. She only knows she gets straight as she go in parliament.
They get caught in his sleeps.
She gets straight. It seems as though the senses just come back.
But KB, what is instructive here, KB, is not about the line, because we know the line. She say pension reform. She say committee to do with pension. She say it is unsustainable.
It will bloat.
She say they calling on their friends in the union to help. She talk about a payment plan. Everything Dr. Kit Mitchell say, and they say that time he wicked and he lie.
I tell you, she borrowed a man talking pattern.
Claudette. Tell Claudette for me, she can be a part of the family. But I'm glad you come to your senses and you say let's be straight, KB.
Of course, and Andre Lewis was asking whether it was the voice of the NNP he was hearing.
But KB, what is so confuffling is the fact that she asking for help from the unions to work out a payment plan going forward to deal with pension. But KB, in the 100 days win, they say payment of pension. So how could you take a win for payment of pension and you asking the union to help you work out a payment for pension? So they really feel greedy and stupid because they catch them. She says, our friends in the union, we want you to help us to sit down and work out a pension plan. And LACO, I used to say is the conscience of the party. Lacret, Senator Lacret, he stand up. Although he misrepresent the numbers and say 1,000, we know you don't know. Lacret, we know all you're playing dumb, you don't know. It's 1,800. Don't tell people 1,000, it's 1,800 LACO. They're not going in the hospital 2 o'clock in the morning like Nicodemus. It's 1,800. And KB, they tell people just a few weeks ago, they have a win and achievement on pension. But here's the AG asking the union to come. Same thing Keith Mitchell prescribed, and they tell them not to go. Now the AG saying come. Let we work out a payment plan. Because as it is written in 1958 legislation, it is unsustainable. Dr. Keith Mitchell said that months ago. You are calling the union now, but you're telling the Grenadian public. You're telling the Grenadian public, hey, unions, come and sit down with me. So we could work out a payment plan. We need to form a committee. We need pension reform. Everything, Dr. But at least the AG get a little thing from me because she have a little spine now. Because she come out and say, let's be straight. Because she realized they fool the people. But KB, what concerns me more? That was one of the main pillar of the campaign, KB. The pension. But now you're telling people, by the thing go crash the place. Same thing Dr. Kit Mitchell say. So when you say Dr. Kit Mitchell, the lie. So KB, when you see tolls for me, ask him those questions and them what the AG say. And then you see tolls. And talking about the IMF on them. When the same IMF they say they don't making joke with, they come here to service people and not debt. And now you're talking about the IMF on you. But the other question I need to ask the AG. When did you know it'll crash the economy? How did you know it'll crash the economy? And who tell you it'll crash the economy? And what you will do for that not to happen? Because I don't deal with them on the contract workers yet. I have to deal with them on the contract workers. Because they fool that set up people too. So as you say, KB, and I confirm to what you say, I concur, I endorse your statement. Go back in the town hall meetings on Wednesday.
And apologize.
And tell the people and them you lie for them and you're sorry. Because KB, the project manager of hate and victimization say they have to apologize to the Rasta man in the campaign, the Rasta men. But you have to apologize to the nation. So go back in your town hall. Go back in your town hall meetings and apologize to the people. And Kiwi, I see we should take you have a call online?
Yeah, we do.
Let me take the call on anything. Good day, caller.
Yeah, good evening, fellas. I think there's a difference between retroactive payment, which the government has decided that it will pay at the end of November. No payment plan there because I remember Deacon saying that he he wants to wrap up the payment, the retroactive payment. So he has not lied about that. He will pay them. But going forward, I'm talking about in terms of pension sustainability. My personal opinion is that this thing is not sustainable, and I have no apologies for that. I think that there should be a contributing pension because the government can't afford with all these things. But in relation to lie and all kinds of things, because remember, Keith Mitchell promised pay up and down, people run up and down Chestnut, saying all campaign. He had promised to pay them, sign memorandum, do all kind of things. Drama, and Keith Mitchell never paid the people. So you have to give Deacon credit for paying the retroactive payment. But also, I want to go all parts of the world now. People.
Carl, let me stick to the issue.
Right. So
the Honorable Deacon Mitchell says in his campaign promises, we go pay pension even if we have to borrow money. That was a fact.
Well,
you can't do that.
Well,
No. Listen, you speak. Listen to me now.
Right. Okay.
He said on the campaign trail that we will pay pension under the ruling of the court even if it means we have to borrow money.
Oh, well, okay. Well,
listen.
Right.
The AG says in cabinet, in parliament, the same thing Dr. Kit Mitchell said. Pension reform. Committee to form.
Yeah.
It is unsustainable. We need the union to sit down with us. And we need to work out a payment plan going forward.
Right. Okay.
Hold on, the exact words of Dr. Mitchell.
Right.
So when she says that now, that means if you need the union to sit down with you to work out a payment plan going forward, you cannot claim victory on pension.
Right. Okay. Right. So listen to me now. It's two different things I'm talking about.
Pension is pension.
No, I'm talking about the retroactive payment where Keith Mitchell failed to pay the people and bramble and lie to them over the years. Retroactive payment, NDC, they say they will keep the promise.
How long the ruling came out? The court 1958 ruling.
Well, whatever it is, anyway, but
how long the ruling came out?
These people have been going.
How long the ruling came out, caller?
Going behind Keith Mitchell.
How long the ruling came out?
But going forward.
How long the ruling came out?
I can't remember, but all I'm saying.
You can't remember, but you could say what you want to say.
Right, but
how long the ruling came out and the Honorable Deacon Mitchell say we go pay pension. He didn't say how we have to work out plan. Because when Dr. Mitchell telling them about it is unsustainable, they say he lie. When Dr. Mitchell say pension reform, they say he wicked. When Dr. Mitchell say you have to form a committee, they say, what committee what? Pay us free money. We want free money and we want free money now. When Dr. Keith Mitchell say it is unsustainable because the liability of pension is 400 million, they say lying. When Dr. Mitchell call on the unions
To sit with us.
to chart the way forward because it implicates the whole country and not persons with pension, they say, shopping is you doing. When he says we need to work out a payment plan going forward because we don't want to cross the economy and the other thing, they say lying. So, Carla, you're wrong.
Dead wrong.
And the AG said the exact words in Parliament. Maybe you didn't listen. And before she said that, she's a liar. Hold on. She invoked the provisos. She said, let's be straight. The public service go bloat. And when Dr. Keith Mitchell say you cannot deal with pension and regularization separately, you have to work together, you say wicked, you want to keep poor people, children, how is for them to vote for him. That's all you say. The project manager of hate and victimization say, even though we have to borrow, we come here to service people. And now you're saying the same thing, Dr. Mitchell said, and you say, the memorandum of understanding was signed in 2018. The union's main thing was they wanted 25% gratuity as is now in the 1958 laws. Dr. Mitchell said it is honest. They went to court and the ruling was formed. So don't come with this cock and bull thing. When I look at other place and say thing, when I look come good. Don't come on Real FM half cock. 2018 the memorandum of understanding was signed. The union say we want with 25% gratuity and we don't burning. So they take the matter to court. The ruling came out after that. So don't talk about Dr. keeping it up and down. Who reneged on the memorandum of understanding was the union.
And who refused to appeal it?
So you don't come with this thing half cock and come with it. When you come good, come with facts to debunk what we're saying.
The NNP refused.
Say you say that, but it's not so, and here is so.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you can't do that. You know.
Yeah, the NNP refused to appeal the matter. If you refuse to appeal the matter, that shows you intend to pay later on down the road.
But what is instructive, KB, and I'm telling you about the project manager of hate and victimization. He say we go pay pension, even though if we have to borrow, without having a grasp of what it is. So he fool the people.
Yeah.
So now to say how the IMF warning you and other thing, why you didn't find out before you just make the pronouncement out, I will pay, even if it takes to borrow. And now you're calling the union to work out a payment plan. So you just realize. So, Mr. Prime Minister, when you realize you go crash the economy, when you realize it is unsustainable, when you realize you need the union to sit down and talk, to put a payment plan going forward, because that's the same recipe. The same recipe the AG offering. Now it's the same recipe Dr. Mitchell offered.
And quality.
And that is the crux of the matter.
Look at the team Dr. Mitchell put in place. Quality.
The crux of the matter when the ruling came out this year. So don't talk about people running up and down on Dr. Mitchell. And Dr. Mitchell say what? For all who qualify for pension this year and retire, they go start to get it. And he go budget if he was in government for next year. You forgetting that too? And talking about the running up and down. And out of the 105% that receiving pension now, you forgetting that part too? But you come in and talk about running up and down. I know you have a hatred for Dr. Mitchell, and that's your view. However, don't come with this halfway, sideway. Don't come here talking like if you're working for Mr. Cree. Let me take a break and come back, Igwe.
Yes. Let me give them the anthem.
This is Urban Life.
You asking me what is wrong with me? so bad. You'll find we so rich in human resources, and yet the country going to pieces. Well, let me tell you, my friend, where we went wrong. After Eric Williams' old car breakdown, we called in an AR, we ordered an X-car and installed a new driver. With 33 passengers from the party, we gave him a maxi taxi, fitted with mag wheels, tape deck, computer, air conditioned 8-cylinder. With posh new fittings, this maxi car arrived. Then it started to swerve and nosedive. It took a year for passengers to realize, they say, the new driver cannot drive. Well, of the 33 chosen passengers, Ramnat, Pandey, Humphrey and Sudama, they wouldn't let the poor driver drive in peace. They distracting him and wouldn't see.
From the north, covering south, east, and west. This is Real FM.
Is made available to citizens of Grenada. The issue is not whether that's not the issue. The issue is you've placed a large group of Grenadian workers on contract. You've placed them in a position where they are unable to borrow through the normal financial institutions by putting them in a position where they do not have sustainable or sustained employment. And what that means is that you've made them vulnerable. You've put them in a position where you now have to try and create a special lending scheme for them to borrow. And I'm saying even the special lending scheme that you've created, most of them are not going to qualify for the loan. And they're not going to qualify because you've already placed them in a position to disqualify them. Because they would not have acquired land. They would not have life insurance because they're working on 6 months or 12-month contracts. And if they're working, and if the jobs they are doing are permanent jobs, jobs that are normal customer requirements for the government, they should be indefinite employees or permanent employees. They should not be on contract work. And if they're not on contract work, they will be able to take part, like the rest of the persons who are on permanent jobs, in the normal banking and financial and the credit union systems in Grenada. And that is how you create wealth.
Absolutely.
That is how you sustain and raise your standard of living. That is how you're able to save money. That is how you acquire a home or acquire a piece of land, or you're able to start a small business on the side. But when you put people on contract work, and when there is no need to do so, then you are putting them in a vulnerable position, and you are doing so deliberately. And so the question you have to ask is, why are you doing so?
Yep.
And in my view, you are doing so because you want to have the ability to fire them at will. So you want to create job insecurity because you want to be able to manipulate them for your own ulterior reasons.
Right.
Right? So let's make this clear. For those contract workers who are able to qualify for that GDB loan, I'm happy for them. But a significant number of them will not be able to qualify.
Right.
And the question is, when they don't qualify, what happens to them? They remain on contract work. So what has to be addressed is the fact that the government has to end this contract work, absorb the employees because they are doing jobs that are normal, customary, and required. Let's take, for example, a cook in a school. If you have a school feeding program, that job is required indefinitely. There is no reason to put a cook on a contract work.
Right.
And remember, when you put her on contract work, she has no pension. She has no chance of getting health insurance. She has no chance of buying life insurance because the incomes are very low.
Yep.
Right? And if you go to buy these things, they will say to you, well, we have no guarantee that you will have a job 6 months from now or 12 months from now. And so no one wants to deal with you from a financial perspective when you're in that position.
Right.
And I'm saying the job of the citizens, of the government, is to fight for its citizens, to protect its citizens, to encourage its citizens to be independent, not dependent,
Right.
not vulnerable. So that is the challenge we face. And I'm saying it is solvable by the stroke of a pen.
Yep.
And let me make this further point. It is actually illegal. The Employment Act clearly says that you cannot put someone on a fixed-term contract, meaning these short-term contracts, when the position they are filling is an indefinite one. So the government itself is breaking the law. The government itself is being lawless. So I'm saying in those circumstances, they should in fact end the contract work, regularize the status of the employees, and any other incentives that should be offered to them to make up for the period that they've been on contract jobs, in fact, should be given to them.
Yes, sir.
Now, based on that clip, Igwe, and all that he's saying, I want you to line up the same clip with Sister Claudette again, because she addressed this whole permanent working thing. But before, whilst you line up the clip, I need to tell the people something again.
I have it ready already.
The last caller, KB, must understand, retroactive payment is not pension. Pension is something continuous. So she what don't understand. So get your understanding right, caller. Retroactive is not pension. And the government has yet to tell us when pension will start to be paid. Because they're asking the union to sit down to work out a payment plan. But that caller so blinded by hate for Dr. Mitchell. So they're trying to get a pound of flesh. And listen that. The AG, who is a lawyer, or should be one of some scruples, sat and the union lawyer, when the ruling came out, advised his clients, KB, his union, not to sit down and negotiate with Dr. Mitchell because it was illegal to negotiate concerning the pension ruling, since it is a constitutional ruling. So, AG, if the lawyer who advised the union before tell them what, don't contact with Keith Mitchell, because all is a constitutional ruling, it still remains a constitutional ruling.
Yes, sir. So they want to talk to union now?
Yeah, but they advised the union when Dr. Mitchell was prime minister, don't go by him. It's constitutional ruling, but now they want the union come by them. Tell them, the public, because the public officers listening and they realize they get hoodwinking. And in 1,500 days,
they will find out.
All they go say who go in Haiti and all about and wearing black clothes. 1,500 days. I want you to play the clip by Sister Claudette again, because she bring clarity to all that thing, She say, let's be straight. So he going on the part of prominent workers and regularizing workers, KB, and after that you will take the lead, because I have a mouthful to say on.
Go right ahead. Yeah. Somebody say they're surprised to hear Miss Know It All calling Real FM. She get belly.
No, Miss Know It All and them have to come good here. They don't come sideways here. And then they come sideways. I letting them know I do speaking for Chinglong Cree. So if them speaking for Chinglong Cree, don't come and talk for Mr. Cree here. Don't come and talk no for Cree here. Don't talk for Mr. Cree. Because what I'm saying is, it is simple. If you understand the pension debate, you have to give some credence to Dr. Mitchell. Because Dr. Mitchell, and what? Dr. Mitchell is a man, numbers is the thing, eh? So, KB, they bad. He tell you the enormity of the 1958 ruling go cripple the economy. So, what his recipe was simple, for the people, Let's reform pension. And that was part of what? And that call I don't understand. The whole MOU she talking about was to reform pension, to make it for all KB, all workers. So when the pie sharing, not one set of people getting big piece, and when they don't want more, they throwing it. It was for everybody to get, even the scrums would have been helpful. Because the 5 barley loaves and the 2 fishes, and they get 12 basket of scrums after. And by the way Dr. Mitchell has gone, everybody get something. Even what fall from the main course, the table. You could get these crumbs. Because you recognize the importance of taking care of poor people and poor people children. You understand what I'm saying? So his recipe simply was, let's reform this thing. And that was the MOU signed in 2018. But the union was hell-bent on 25% gratuity. The color had to know that. And that's what derailed the negotiation. He ended up in court. But they were saying that. Because Dr. Keith Mitchell always saying, watch, the finance of the country can't afford this 1958 ruling thing. But we recognize that persons are to be paid. So let's find a way. If it's a compromise we have to get. They tell the union it is a constitutional motion. Don't go and discuss it with him. But now the AG asking the union. So it is not constitutional now. He talk out a payment plan, the same recipe she offering. She saying it is insustainable. It go derail the economy. That she was, KB.
She borrowed the man talking pattern.
She say, Lako say the cabinet forming a committee. Same thing Dr. Keith Mitchell do.
Let's hear what she had to say again.
So I don't really get it, And then you have now the project manager of hate and victimization. See, watch, contract work is illegal. The government doing an illegal deed by continuing to a contract work.
So why?
He said in his deliberation once, what you're doing is normal. What it is customary and it is required.
Make you permanent?
Why make the nurses sign contract, KB?
The 30 nurses?
They are not normal. It is not customary and they're not needed. Why make the teachers with mathematics get 2 years and those without maths 1 year? Are they not normal?
And he said that
are they not customary?
He said that is
are they not needed?
He said that
and
illegal.
Then to confound the thing, he says, watch, by the stroke of a pen he could fix. But KB, I have a parallel view by the stroke of a pen. Now people saying, asking if the pen break or the ink. The pen writing. But the pen writing against poor people, children, KB.
Send them home.
KB, the pen writing against poor people, children.
Send them home.
And they are among the sending home. Because the pen they're using to sign the letters to send them home. KB, and I always go, what with that? That is the amount of people are damaged already. And I plan to damage 800 more before Christmas time come. So the pen working, KB.
Hold it up, let the people at them see. That
KB, the stroke. KB, the stroke of the pen working. Don't say it don't working. The stroke of the pen will write on that paper for people trying to go home. He died the stroke of the pen, he mean. He mean to send people home permanently. You send about 8 of them on the airport in Paul's go home. You bring some people to work the morning, and now you have to send the people to train to do the work. That is not victimization, KB. That is not singling out poor people, children, and victimizing them. So you is the project manager of hate and victimization, because that are your antecedents. That are the fruits you behind. So you say now how it's by the stroke of a pen. And the government is wicked because they're illegal. And you shouldn't have people on contract for long. So but you're giving people 2 years contract.
What do you give the nurses?
So you're giving them 2 years contract. So that is not illegal. Hold on, I have to deal with that before we go there. So that is not illegal. And added to that, the AG. See what? This thing, we can't fix this contracting because the IMF want us. And he go blow the public service. So the project manager of hate and victimization, you have to go back in the town hall meeting and tell the people I'm really lie.
They apologize.
But you don't want to tell them you lie. You could simply tell them you didn't know. You could tell them I didn't know. Youthful arrogance, inexperience, and lack of institutional knowledge. You could go and tell them this thing and they might understand. But the stroke of the pen working, all these letters are writing, KB. That is the stroke of the pen. So when you listen people speak, KB, listen to the language. Not really what they're saying. Listen to the language in which they're speaking. I'll give you an example in the book. The book of scriptures, they say, and he rested from his work. He never say he rested from work. He say he rested from his work. The language of the Bible never say he rested from our work. He say he rested from his work. And in Matthew, he come and say, watch. When the word became flesh and blood, he say, me and my Father never stop work. So all them people are saying out, he rested from his work. Listen to the language of the book. Just so, with the project manager of hate and victimization, a stroke of his pen have poor people, children bawling. KB, me and you travel a little bit together. And we just hearing people and crying. KB, we still have deep in the pocket.
Yeah.
And try to grease the people.
We don't have
the brand we don't have.
We don't have what we give in.
Silver and gold have we none. And I want you to take on this whole pen thing, KB, because he say by the stroke of a pen, but the AG say that is not true, that can happen. So the Imani Kalalo get Corey. So Imani's all the vote for permanent, that won't happen. And that the utterances of Senator Joseph, not my words. Senator Joseph say that won't happen.
Can't.
Them people are never on contract. And they go continue to be given contract, but the project manager of hate and victimization say by the stroke of a pen he could fix it. But the pen fixing a set of people into permanent unemployment. Poor people, children mainly. Because if you see at first KB, they try a shot in Carriacou. They say they were Jersey. When they recognize people, see the people in Jersey, that can't hold. So they just start to tell them things. KB, England came down here and he had a test series in the Caribbean. And all the other games went into team draws.
Yes.
And there was a game in Grenada.
Good. Good pitch, man. Good
West Indies won Igwe.
Finally.
And the ICC grading pitches and playing condition gave the groundsmen in Grenada full 100%. They could Google it.
Yes.
But they tell them don't come back to work until.
You send them home? Why
They tell the groundsmen in Queens Park not to come back until they call them.
What that?
Like the groundsmen and them, they don't have the mortgage to pay. Like they don't have children to take care of. Like they don't have to leave. Like they don't have to put food on the table. And you're telling me you claim victory in cost of living matters. And you're putting people on the breadline. You're putting these people and them in polls on the breadline. And you're telling me about in your victory cost of living measure. And when I talk out that they want to call and talk out how Kit Mitchell. But it's not Kit Mitchell that governing now.
It's you.
You is the prime minister now.
No excuse now.
Talking about Kit Mitchell now don't making sense. You don't change the price of cocoa neither oil.
You have to perform.
You're talking about
no excuse.
What Kit Mitchell do. He had people running up and down. No people don't running up and down. They can't even run. They don't have the strength to run. Because the stroke of the pen. The stroke of the pen. You damaging poor people chairman the stroke of the pen. And you come now. Look at them. All them in parliamentary offices. All faith-based and other people. And they telling the faith-based and go by Emmeline and pay for money. How could you? When you admitting to the Grenadian public that faith-based had a contract with the government. AG that. How could you watch the Grenadian public straight in the face and say you are love for them? How could you look at the Grenadian public and say you come to service people when only the people perceive to be your color getting jobs? They used to say how the Postal Corporation is Gregory going on. But according to Mr. Robinson, you see how Mr. Roland Bola shouldn't take the work KB because he's General Secretary. But you're the only executive in NDC and you have the work now. So it ain't good for Roland Bola. But it's good for you. But you used to say who own it. You dare now tell the Grenadian public who own it. I want to tack because I feel like I'll be tacking and time when that come. Now the time has come. And I am the opposition. So this little mere flimsy phone call on them and talking about Dr. Kit Mitchell people running up and down. Come with your facts. Don't come Ben. I can't to Senator Claret. Come straight. Be straight.
Straight to the people, man. Straight to the people.
KB.
Yeah, we shouldn't do it again.
KB. Watch the condition or the side of the road. So much timber on the roadside. He could easily hide the Chinese army.
Yeah.
Say a lie again. Say Keith Mitchell lie again.
The grass on the side of the road.
Yeah, timber. There are grass on the road.
Like team body.
Like timber, like forest. He could easily hide the Chinese army gates.
You know how much
the Chinese army come and hide and we'll see them.
But Master Carl, 2 fortnight they plan to give for
and
Christmas.
And they plan to give 2 fortnight.
For Christmas, you know.
If they see our color, Kibila, you take that color.
Hello.
Hi, afternoon.
Afternoon.
Again, I'm enjoying your program. Master Carl,
hey.
I love the way you explained this thing to the lady.
Aye.
And I love the way how you did not allow us to lead.
No, she can't come here and mislead people.
Yeah,
go on them other program and them other else go and mislead people. Not here.
She goes on so many programs preaching that same kind of doctrine.
Not here.
So false. And I'm glad you had the facts and you had it burning hot enough that you could have rested on her. And that was very good. In the tongue, we call her Miss Know-It-All.
Yeah, she's Know-It-All.
She doesn't know anything and anything that much. I think I really want to say that your defense was full of facts and it was ready to deal with it. And that's what we need to deal with these people like that. She's a member of that same team, Fight and Hate, because she simply does not like Dr. Mitchell. And we know that Dr. Mitchell never promised to pay no pension. He was waiting on the court. And at the same time, the court ruling came in, he did not say he's going to
appeal.
He said he accepted it.
Yeah.
All these things went on, but it was in a short space of time. Election was right there. And NDC used the good of it and the bad of it, and they fool a lot of people with it. And I think Master Carl, hitting them with their own words is way it hurt. He had made it clear to the nation, to the world, that they are going to pay the pension. Even though they have to borrow to pay, they go pay. And today, he ain't coming out and take the lead. He ain't playing the lead dog now. He sent...
Got it.
Master Carl, besides that, there's so much thing going on in this little country. These people sit down in groups, not in cabinet, in groups, party groups, and decide who should walk, who shouldn't walk, who should get a walk, who must go home. And they go around and telling people even around the tongue. You have a little Indian woman in tongue. She will go around and telling people who should walk and who shouldn't walk, and they also want us to move. And the thing sounds so ugly. It sounds like if we live in a country that may come like Haiti. They're dividing the country with the stupidity. You know, and the people cannot see what they're doing. This is not a revolution. They just win 9 seats. We win 6, they win 9. Instead of they uphold that pleasure of the democracy and let us live together, they dividing the country by telling people who should work and who shouldn't work, who should eat and who shouldn't eat. You have a woman who was removed off of a list. If that woman didn't call a certain program to tell the program that, look, I was removed off that list, that woman would have been balling up to today. Maybe she would have died because she's sick with she has sugar, she has high blood pressure, and they just pick the woman out and move her, and it's something they're doing. If they look at you and they say, she has to go, he has to go. I really don't understand where these people bring in this country, and then they're asking us to come together and do what? Come together to spite one another? We are all together, and what I'm saying, every time a man pick up his cutlass, his fork, his spade, and he go and walk the land, he's working to build Grenada. When a man go to work, whether you go to sweep the drain or you go every day, we are working to build Grenada. So you can't come and call us and tell us, come let we build Grenada. We building Grenada long. And every day we building Grenada. We are united enough and civil enough to go to work every day and to produce to build our country. So when you come and tell us, because you come with an ideology, and you saying, come let we build Grenada with this ideology, that can't work. And you know, that's what caused the revolution to create so much hate. Because they were calling people to build Grenada on that ideology. In fact, NDC don't really have an ideology. What they have is fight and hate, wickedness. And you're calling people to come together to let us all be wicked. So, Master Carl, And Brother KB,
Right.
be strong and keep giving the fight.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, KB, let me hear you.
I thought you have to play Sister Claret clip. You forget Sister Claret.
Oh, you want Claret clip?
Yes, because you want to compare what she say
Yeah,
to what they can say.
KB Claret clip.
Yeah, let me give KB what you want.
Is the issue of contract work and how unfair contract work is, whether it's taking place in the public sector or the private sector, and the need to regularize as much as we can contract workers. But let's be straight. We're going to be straight with the nation. Contract work and pension reform must go together. Because we commit to pay the retroactive pension, and we are doing so. We understand the import of the ruling of the court. But so as not to do severe damage, perhaps even irreparable damage to our economy in the long run, we must work out a pension plan going forward that's sustainable. Because as it stands now, when people retire, they are entitled to NIS, that's public servants I mean, they are entitled to NIS plus government pension, and government pension is a non-contributory pension, which means the government alone pays everything into the pension fund, plus under the NIS law, the government pays 6% into the NIS, into the government pays National Insurance Fund. So going forward, that will be a really hefty sum that the IMF and everybody else have already warned is not sustainable going forward as it is. Plus, if we regularize contract workers across the board without at the same time treating with pension reform, what do? We bloat the public service, we expand the public service, and in so doing, the amount of people who would be eligible for pension. So we call on our friends in the labor movement to sit with us and work out an acceptable mode going forward, where everyone will be happy, where we will not leave an unbearable financial burden for those who come after us.
You catch up, KB?
Yeah.
You catch up these wrongs?
Yeah, what Honorable Deacon Michel should do, he should fire for contradicting him. He can't be saying one thing and Claret saying another thing. He should fire Claret. He's saying contract worker is illegal.
Yeah.
You understand? She know, saying something else. I want Mr. Deacon Mitchell. At one time, I did ask Bernard Code what caused the downfall of the revolution. And he said, KB, youth inexperience and arrogance is a deadly combination. That's what NDC facing. Youth inexperience and arrogance.
Somebody just tell me they sent home a senator in St. Mark's.
I do?
They sent home somebody in St. Mark's, a senator.
It's a
housing officer, to be exact. Was sent home.
Deadly combination.
Well, even school children say, them men and them, and just to add to what KB saying, youthful arrogance and inexperience. You see, when the school children say, it is alleged that when even the siren blowing down the senator going and question that.
I get the message wrong. The senator of St. Mark's, or representing the NDC, said that he cannot work with the housing officer because the housing officer is an NNP.
So he sent home
green blood.
So they send that home, green blood.
But like the siren in the station is the NNP too.
Yeah, Master.
Well, they should go and cut it off.
Master, you have a call, we take it.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon.
Comes. I don't forget you are this week.
yes, that's it. I just come from church celebrating the birthday of Dr. Kitchel's mother since yesterday, and we had a wonderful time this morning. Mr. Bola and them will be back home by now. Yes. I like how you handle Miss Avon, you know.
What is she
Because
name?
Miss Anne-Marie Avon. When you call in this radio station Anne-Marie, you must have your facts. Because Mr. Carr and the rest of the guys that is there, they keep playing the clip of the Prime Minister for you to hear. So that is that. They're playing from the Senator Claudette. They're playing them for you, Anne-Marie, so you can come with something different to confuse people, man. I ain't bright as you. I didn't go to no secondary school. I have no bachelor degree, nothing. I never work, all I work is by the side of selling the one thing. You understand? I understand. When they come with the facts and when they speak, and even when the Senator and the Prime Minister speak, I know where they're going wrong down the road, Anne-Marie. I know you're a bright woman. You're bright. But they have facts saying, look at what he's saying about the people that were able to get a loan. I mean, come on. You don't have to have your bachelor degree to understand what he's saying and what the lady is saying. When Dr. Mitchell had told him he would get Mr. Antoine, that man with the heavy voice, I used to work in the Ministry of Finance, there, and the others,
Spencer.
Dr. Spencer,
Yeah.
and others, they refused. And now she's asking the labor people now to come and sit with her. And they turn down that. And I don't go to no secondary school and I didn't have no bachelor degree or nothing. And that is easy to understand for anybody. So you have to come with your facts, man. You could do that on Shaggy program and speak for 2 hours, but not on this one, man. Yes. And you mustn't hate. If you hate Dr. Mitchell, take it to your heart. God said don't hate nobody. Have a blessed day.
All right, Cabs.
Master Carl,
Hey.
that tip by Honorable Deacon Mitchell is like an albatross wrong in neck, you know. And NDC, if all you believe, we will stop playing those tape joking making. We beating all you like Lambi with those tape.
Like bongo jump.
Until election call, until you apologize. If you believe we're going to rest that tape and forget it, joking making, you understand? You must tell us how much nurses you regularize.
How much teachers?
How much teachers you regularize?
How much e-monies you make permanent?
How much e-money you make permanent? And how much passport you sell from the time you take power? You keeping it secret. You don't want us to know you're selling passport. Because you know, Honorable Deacon Mitchell.
Passport running?
What wrong with you? The man want to sell more passport than NNP. Do you know how former Prime Minister Tillman Thomas think about passport? You know what he have to say. Tillman will always say, you see, Dr. Mitchell is selling our patrimony, selling our passport to crooks and criminals. No!
Who's selling it?
No! Tillman Thomas, former Prime Minister, call on Deacon Mitchell. Tell him to stop sell Grenada passport. What happened till you moral compass boss or what? You moral compass boss, Tillman Thomas? How you was bold enough? Fearless.
What is boy in Victoria?
Tell him Dr. Mitchell. Call him Dr. Mitchell. Calling him out and say you're selling passport to crooks and criminals. Now ask Deacon Mitchell how much passport he sell already. You're wondering how the NNP administration, how Dr. Mitchell could please the IMF and still please the people of this country. Why? The IMF pass and no social explosion. The World Bank pass, no social explosion. CDB, no solution. What? What is his skills? How come? Normally, if you please the IMF, by pleasing the IMF, they will tell you, hey, you have to retrench, You have to send home people. Normally, this will cause a social explosion. in this country. And Dr. Mitchell was able to please the IMF and still please the workers in
We have a
this
call,
country.
Kibi. Let's take that call.
Before we take the call. But what is boy in Victoria know about
No, don't call
walking
people
and thing?
boy. Don't call people boy.
He's a boy, man.
No.
I will not
Gates.
him. I will not
No,
him.
get on the program. We can.
He's a boy, Carl.
Nah, Gates. Do it.
All right.
The man is a senator.
But what Queens know about that? But walking
Nah,
people
man.
and find. What you know about that?
Gates, be respectful.
You know me good, like come and check me.
Skill,
I behave like you know.
Let me be respectful, man.
All
Let me
right.
take the call.
Yeah. Hello.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm getting
Afternoon.
the big joke of my life. Good evening. Well, I was sitting and listening all the time, and I like how you handle that thing. Carl, you're spitting venom, man.
No. The truth need no legal advice.
I know that.
The
only
truth
thing
need
is
no
I like how you're
attorneys.
Speaking it out. You know, you speak it out like
Facts.
an Adventist preacher. You know, you're hitting the nail on the head.
It's like pum, plum.
That's right. That's right. You tell us what we need to hear and not what we want to hear.
That's easy.
You know, I sit down there and I listen to Miss Anne-Marie. And I say, why that lady just go and call that station to go and make a fool of herself, Bungie, Lord of mercy. You know, because I was listening to other program. And it's like she needs to know it all. That anytime she call, somebody else go call her because she go always say some kind of misleading thing. But it's always against Dr. Mitchell. She hate that man as poison.
She shame now.
Tell her let her know she's the deep sea, I the ocean.
But what that song, the anthem song, I don't think is not about Trinidad, it's about Grenada.
Well, that's why we playing it. The new driver cannot drive.
Yeah,
Reckless.
I'm not hearing that, okay, my good partner, Honorable Senator Queens was sent home. That's true?
No, not Queens. Queens sending people home.
Oh, he's sending people
He's sending people home.
I only fire truck siren blow questioning that.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Power get to there. That thing about power, you know.
He never walk no way in his life yet.
Power and alcohol.
And that's about my good partner. I know. He's my real good partner. But Carl, what I want
We're coaching in the ways of righteousness.
I know as a Christian. Me and his real
Because all of us is one at the end of the day, you know.
partner, me and him
We are one family.
That man
But they don't believe in the green blood.
That man doesn't pass me on the road and he see me.
Well, good.
You understand? We going on good.
So next time we see him, tell him and say hello.
That's right. Carl, I want her to do something for me.
Tell me.
Them clips out of the plane, they send it to that number for me now.
No, call us off air.
Message me on the WhatsApp, 4420175, and I'll send it for you right now. 01. Yeah, message me on the WhatsApp. I'll forward it to you.
Same number.
Same number, yeah.
Okay, yes, I want that number. I want that thing.
Not you don't want them, you need them. You have a difference between need and want.
Was Wednesday gone? Was political Wednesday, and I was home. I was to do night shift. And I tell you, I have a Bluetooth speaker there. I make a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah.
And I put it on top of my fridge. And I send it, and I face it to my next door neighbor was on NDC because they drink the lies of deception. So I face it to them because they always say Dr. Mitchell lying, and he lying. So when I face it to them, okay, the lady, they pull my good friend, my good neighbor, but she's sitting in the veranda there, and she was standing outside with the cigarette in her mouth. But she turned left, she gets up, she sit down, she gets up.
Like a needle in a haystack.
Yeah. When she tried to take it again, and she run and inside. When I look back, you but my partner now, she husband now, he stand up and he listen by when he listen. He feel so uncomfortable. He listen. He want to go. He want to stay. He want to go. He want to stay. And I feel low.
And just facts.
And just facts. No deception. No deceive. But can you see? I could have remember, Carl, during the campaign, when I hear all these men saying all these things, he go pay the pension and he go make the money prominent in 2 years' time and all that kind of a thing. I call Shaggy program. I say, Shaggy, could this thing be trusted? Because this thing is something too true to be trusted.
Like David Copperfield.
Yes, that's something too true to be real. So I said, can this thing a woman call after and say that's a new NDC with new policy? It has to be trusted.
I wonder what you say now.
From their own words.
You understand? Oh God, I'm really sorry for us. A lot of them get caged, not me, not me.
They drink the broth.
Not me.
Right now, the
A lot
curry
of
get
them
Carlo.
caged. Even some of them first-time voters and young people who, especially some of them in the email.
Yeah, but for permanent man. No, but between me and you. No, between me and you. The pie in the sky, what they offer in the song in good.
Exactly.
If you didn't grounded, you'd be getting swell.
But it was only too good for me to be
too good to be true.
I have experience with NDC for 3 terms. Come on, Carl. I'm almost 50. I know NDC from since 1990 to 95.
And if you don't learn history, if you don't take part, if you don't be conscious of the history. So yes, Carl, thanks for chiming in, man.
Yeah. And I know you have to wrap up, so.
Alright.
Take care of yourself and continue and go listen on the Wednesday again.
Alright, bless.
No, we have an hour to go, man.
I'll have an hour again to go.
Yeah, man, finish at 4 o'clock.
I know that to listen to him. Well, I know that to listen to him.
And right now, I'm throwing out a challenge to them. Because they say in the 100 days they claim victory in pension.
In what?
Hold on. So I want them to challenge me. Retroactive payment is not pension. Pension is a continuous thing. And they don't start that yet. So they can't claim no victory on pension because the AG asking for help from the union. I want them to challenge me. Retroactive payment is not pension. Tell them to challenge me on that.
When they tell the union it has to be before Togo.
No, they say it's a constitutional matter.
Right.
And are we supposed to deal in the constitutional matter?
Right.
So ask Jimmy for me.
Government is government. Government is government. Not only under NNP's constitutional and all the other one, it's not constitutional. Constitution all across the board.
Tell them you don't have no ching long cree here.
No. You're dealing with people.
Yeah, man.
Stop fooling the people. Stop it.
No, because to be honest, the AG say let's be straight.
That's right, Alicia.
And everything she say after that, I really thought she go by some, well maybe, no, what I feel she go by Dr. Mitchell for something. I feel. When I meet Dr. Kit Mitchell, I have to ask him, because she say the IMF and orders one or so maybe one of the orders is Dr. Mitchell.
Phone cut off.
She said the IMF and orders. Remember that, KB? Yeah. So KB, to put it in a nutshell, pension is different from retroactive payment. So what they say they go pay at the end of November is retroactive payment. My question is, when will the NDC start paying pension? Yeah. Because I claim victory in 100 days. But you realize they always going in a subtle way. KB, when the serpent went to Eve, he attacked her in a subtle way, you know.
Oh, the serpent.
He tell her a lot of nice things.
Yeah, man.
We go make you prominent.
They believe this.
When you eat the apple, you go come like God.
They believe this serpent.
You will be able to see good and evil.
Yes.
We go pay pension, we go lend the money.
You go fly like the eagle.
The same kind of vibes.
The serpent give
the serpent give.
Yes.
That is same kind of vibe the project manager of hate and victimization drop on the people.
The serpent song believable.
Just like the project manager on the programs and this. So
if you listen to Deacon Mitchell as a young person, you would vote for him.
Yeah. The same thing is
stuck in the language of young people.
Between me and you, the serpent was smooth. Mm-hmm. He tell a girl, watch, if you eat that, you come like the man who tell you not to eat it. He say, girl, you go see good and evil. He don't want you to come like him.
Exactly.
But the project manager of hate and victimization say, watch, I go pay pension even means I have to borrow to pay. I go make everybody prominent when they ask him that in Bonnie. He say by the stroke of a pen that could fix. He say that is illegal to have all your contract this long. And then the first real sitting at the upper house, the AG said, let's be straight with the gradient.
That is not sustainable.
This thing and them can happen. Mm-hmm. Just like Eve, because when Eve eat the apple now and she go buy Adams, they realize they don't have clothes.
Yeah.
The same thing. So right now, the Imanis and the country of Crocodile realize, no, them born them catch us. Let me take that call.
Yeah. Remember, people, 50 likes today. Can I get my 50 likes, please? Hello.
Hello, good day.
Good day.
Yes, great program.
Thank you.
We only speak in facts.
Yes, and I must compliment y'all for doing your research.
Well, we don't ordinary here.
Information and to bring out the truth. Because people been calling and asking, can we get that information? Because people realize it's not old talk that's going on, and y'all coming on the radio and old talk. You're bringing the facts, and you're bringing it out to the nation, and people are really, really getting to know, what it is really, and applauding our former Prime Minister and political leader of the NNP, Dr. Kit Mitchell, man with wisdom and knowledge and experience that he could guide the nation. But however, we see what happened. And I'm happy to know that you're getting that information because it is about the country and it is about building Grenada, Carriacou, Petit-Martinique. I have other things to say, but I like how the program going and more people getting to understand the real situation. I'm very happy and I could applaud you all. I'm applauding you all for the good work and continue getting more information, do your research, and we continue to spread the real gospel and the news about what's taking place. May God bless everyone, and you all have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
And one thing, KB, she mentioned the word the gospel. Eh? Now the gospel, when you hear the gospel, KB, you have to agitate you.
Yeah.
You have to make you think.
Yes, man.
And what we do in here, the Real FM, when they hear KB, they agitate, it traumatize some, it bring joy to some. And that is the crux of the delivery here, the content. Let's see that call it Igwe.
Hello?
Yeah, man, don't cut me off to them. Mr. Call and KB, how do
we good. We're not cutting you off. Once you're making sense.
Last week you cut me off.
But you have to make sense or else you're getting cut off.
I just talk about the Prime Minister stolen passport. How much passport he sold to you already?
Not me, you're not to sell passport. He's selling passport. Go ahead.
How much passport he sold to your family already?
Say what you want to say.
Call to your man.
You always starting with this thing.
You must expect.
Call to your man, listen to me. Listen to me, call to your man. Don't cut him off, leave him.
You don't understand.
Call to your man.
If you cut me off, I'll call him back.
Call to your man. Now don't laugh that thing. Don't be call to your man and feel the dainty. Don't give call to your man that forward. Don't give call to your man that forward. Call to your man. It is a fact that the Prime Minister was an agent of the CBI and he yet to tell us that he recused himself from it. It is a fact that Mr. Dennis Cornwallis will be an agent and they yet to tell us that they recused themselves. Doubt that.
Well, I don't know
you don't know. It's that what I'm telling you. It's like, damn, you don't know all you're playing. When are the call station come with things that making sense? Because anytime it don't make sense, I go tell all you. Go and find out if the Honorable Prime Minister was not an agent or still is. Because they have not communicated that to the Grenadian people that they recuse themselves from being agents of CBI.
Hey, what? Now,
so you didn't know that?
Mix, like, politician and clips. Or they must play some of the Dr. Mitchell clips on them too. Mix it up.
So you didn't hear Dr. Mitchell? You didn't hear Dr.
Many people listen to all the promises.
Call to your man. Don't waste the people time. You don't have nothing to. You don't have nothing to offer to the program. So listen and learn something. Call to your man. Listen and learn something. Don't call where you accustomed calling. You accustomed calling other place. Call and make this thing.
But you don't making sense, call to your man.
And call to your man. If you walking for Ching Long Cree, don't call it.
That in your company now.
Ching Long Cree.
We have to save that one. Ching Long Cree.
Yeah, KB, you're saying.
Tell them off what you mean.
But I'm saying, you have to admire Dr. Mitchell's skills in how he handled the IMF and how he handled this country. Because normally, anytime the IMF pass, always leave a trail of destruction. But yet, Dr. Mitchell was able to please the IMF and please the people of this country to avoid social explosion in this country. Because there is a gray area. That gray area, Dr. Mitchell said, hey, every 5 person retiring, I will only rehire 2.
Well, three for 10.
Yeah.
3 for 10.
Every 10 I'll go hire 3.
Hire 3.
3 for 10.
So we will reduce the size of the service.
Without hurting people.
Without hurting people. Without sending people home in droves. Just 3 or 2 will be going out at a time. So we will please the IMF and please the people. And that is how this country remains stable. That is how we're able to grow the economy. And they should learn from it. Because when they enter government, they meet a solid foundation.
By their admission.
By their admission. Before.
Because when they left.
When they left. When they win the government the last time under Tillman Thomas, they met $60 million. They were saddled with $60 million unpaid claim in the treasury. When they left us with $120 million unpaid claim. The deficit was about between 6 and 7. When they left, about 9. The national debt was about 1.8 billion. When they left, it was about 2.2 billion. They were the one who mismanaged the economy. But this time they meet it real good. They have to show appreciation and copy all what the past government did for them to survive. But we realize even with that hefty sum of $530 million, with a sound economy, they still can't manage. Something wrong. Something wrong. They still can't manage. You're wondering what's wrong with the NDC. They claim to have the biggest, the brightest people, the most intelligent people. They always claim that NNP is stupid, backward, and Dr. Mitchell and NNP is corrupt. But what we realize, they enter government now, and they're embracing all the policies, all the project of the NNP. If you ask them what new, when they're going to bring the first factory to this country, they always saying only tourist, hotel. When they take power, they will start building factory. But all we hear from the NDC now to generate income is to sell passport and to grow marijuana. That is the only thing we hear from them. Mr. Deacon Mitchell said to reform this society. He can use the CBI program to reform the economy, to transform the economy. He can use the CBI program, selling passport, to transform the economy. He want to sell marijuana to transform the economy. These people look at big jokers. Things you condemn. Things you condemn. At one time, Nazimburg decided to come up with his own CBI plan in the NDC. Claret and them beat it. Tricks and them beat it. They say, CBI, Nazim? This thing selling passport look too much like it, Michelle. You can't come here with that. Nazim had to back down. No. Honorable Deacon Mitchell, continue to sell passport to foreigners. And everyone lose their tongue. Everyone lost their tongue. Not one saying anything. Even Tillman Thomas, I always calling on you, who always take the moral high ground, who always claim to be a soldier for Christ, who always anti-selling passport. Uncle Tilly, you don't say nothing, you don't telling Deacon Mitchell to stop sell our passport to foreigners? You don't telling him that? It was wrong under NNP, but it is right under the NDC. You're such a hypocrite. Such a hypocrite. That's why I said from the beginning, we must trust our leaders with the truth. So once they deceive us, there must be consequence. There should be consequence. Again, we are calling Honorable Deacon Mitchell. If you don't want to face the Imanis, if you don't want to face the contract workers in town hall meeting, go on national television and apologize. Say, I made a mistake. I'm wrong to deceive you because I get your vote. You vote for me based on your promise. Now you deceive us. We're asking for your apology. We're asking you to resign from government, you know. People vote for you, you have to govern. But you must apologize. And if you believe this tape will go away, joke making.
You hear it again? To keep him warm, you know. Hold on there. Stroke of a pen. Hold on. Stroke of.
I'm happy that any loans, if affordable, is made available to citizens of Grenada. The issue is not whether that's not the issue. The issue is you've placed a large group of Grenadian workers on contract. You place them in a position where they are unable to borrow through the normal financial institutions by putting them in a position where they do not have sustainable or sustained employment. And what that means is that you've made them vulnerable. You put them in a position where you now have to try and create a special lending scheme for them to borrow. And I'm saying even the special lending scheme that you've created, most of them are not going to qualify for the loan. And they're not going to qualify because you've already placed them in a position to disqualify them. Because they would not have acquired land. They would not have life insurance because they're working on 6 months or 12-month contracts. And if they're working, and if the jobs they are doing are permanent jobs, jobs that are normal customer requirements for the government, they should be indefinite employees or permanent employees. They should not be on contract work. And if they're not on contract work, they will be able to take part, like the rest of the persons who are on permanent jobs, in the normal banking and financial and the credit union systems in Grenada. Right. And that is how you create wealth.
Absolutely.
That is how you sustain and raise your standard of living. That is how you're able to save money. That is how you acquire a home or acquire a piece of land, or you're able to start a small business on the side. But when you put people on contract work, and when there is no need to do so, then you are putting them in a vulnerable position, and you are doing so deliberately. And so the question you have to ask is, why are you doing so?
Yep.
And in my view, you are doing so because you want to have the ability to fire them at will. So you want to create job insecurity because you want to be able to manipulate them for your own ulterior reasons.
Right.
Right? So let's make this clear. For those contract workers who are able to qualify for that GDB loan, I'm happy for them. But a significant number of them will not be able to qualify.
Right.
And the question is, when they don't qualify, what happens to them? They remain on contract work. So what has to be addressed is the fact that the government has to end this contract work, absorb the employees because they are doing jobs that are normal customary and required. Let's take, for example, a cook in a school. If you have a school feeding program, that job is required indefinitely. There is no reason to put a cook on a contract work.
Right.
And remember, when you put her on contract work, she has no pension. She has no chance of getting health insurance. She has no chance of buying life insurance because the incomes are very low.
Yep.
Right? And if you go to buy these things, they will say to you, well, we have no guarantee that you will have a job 6 months from now or 12 months from now. And so no one wants to deal with you from a financial perspective when you're in that position.
Right.
And I'm saying the job of the citizen, of the government, is to fight for its citizens, to protect its citizens, to encourage its citizens to be independent, not dependent, not vulnerable. So that is the challenge we face. And I'm saying it is solvable by the stroke of a pen.
Yep.
And let me make this further point. It is actually illegal. The Employment Act clearly says that you cannot put someone on a fixed term contract, meaning these short term contracts, when the position they are filling is an indefinite one. So the government itself is breaking the law. The government itself is being lawless. So I'm saying in those circumstances, they should in fact end the contract work, regularize the status of their employees, and any other incentives that should be offered to them to make up for the period that they've been on contract jobs, in fact, should be given to them.
So if it is illegal, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, why you put the nurses on contract? You just tell us it is illegal. You tell us it is wrong. So why you going and do the wrong? Why you doing things illegal and you are a lawyer? You know? You have a legal mind. You have a legal mind. You know the law, you're breaking the law. You're going to put 30 nurses on contract. You just tell us that is illegal. I'll take that call. Hello?
Hello, good day.
Good day.
Giving NDC 2 years and 6 months inside here, not more than that, you know. 2 years and 6 months. They don't make in 5 years. They can't make 5 years. With this lie, they start in 3 months' time or 4 months' time. They don't make in that. Thank you.
Okay, bro.
Man prophesying.
Man prophesizing it.
Prophesying.
Stick there, we have a next one again.
Hello?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Master Carl, KB,
Leave that voice test.
Raise that voice, man.
Yeah, man, I'm calling people to listen. Like I was saying, we have to listen carefully to the lines of what the Honorable Prime Minister Deacon said. In that same clip you guys just played a while ago, he says the workers on contract are illegal and they don't have job security. But he also said they can be permanent or indefinitely hired. So which means you can be on contract, but you're hired indefinitely, but you have your little securities on the job. So you have to listen carefully because this man is a lawyer and he's kind of people. Secondly, these callers that are calling and making all these nonsense, like the lady I called from Tongue and the Rastaman, they have been ordered to do that. Because if you listen to the guy that will be preaching it, he's telling callers, call these programs and make mischief and all kinds of things like that. And that's what they do. I keep saying this party, that call this NDC party. And they do
There's only a few of them, man.
Yeah, there's a few of them, but trust me, they have reach. So when they feel the calling, right now they're cussing everybody. They're cussing this reporter, they're calling this reporter, all kind of, the shaming is what they're doing. So we have to be careful. Let's continue bringing the facts and continue bringing the truth. And keep it all with them, man. We are back.
Keep his boy.
Take care, man. Take care.
Yeah. Stroke of a pen, all you.
Carl.
Hey.
For we to get 2,000 views, that's a lot of people showing interest in the program.
2,000, 6,000, I think we just be getting.
Reach all that?
2,000.
Reach 6,000 views already?
KB, I need to say something here because at the end of the day, the NNP, when in power, we had economic growth, one of the strongest in the region, averaging 3.5%. Employment was reduced. When they do the debt haircut, financial support we received from IMF, World Bank, EU, and CDB, and I want to speak a little bit about that here. So, in the news recently, They say we pay back Libya the 5 million. And that was hindering Grenada from getting assistance. That's what they say now. But the evidence is there that financial support over 100 million per year was received by the NNP administration from all the major financial institutions in the world. So this attempt to mislead the people and to call this debt on them, it don't fall in no way. The deficit was lowered. That means the government was living within its means. The unpaid claims in the Treasury NDC left. 110 million was paid. Putting money back in small business, but now they're taking it from them. Increasing capital expenditure. And I want to stick here.
Yeah.
They used to say only road NNP building, only concrete. But now they have a whole two ministry, infrastructure, and they are what they call mobilization fighting, because every way you have a project, you see in the mobilization minister. And they turn in the side getting money then. You go hear it in the news. And they giving them
praise.
The Minister of Mobilization and Infrastructure, they just come. Like they negotiated the contract.
Contract was already
They go
there.
give them. We had investor confidence here to show we have that now. Because we saw a lot of mega projects. And some of the projects, KB, like the Mount Kuma Road, the project in St. David's and thing, they're doing like it's theirs.
What's about the one in Musubi's?
What else do you? Public workers receive pension, the 105 people receive pension. Facts! And public workers receive increase in salary every year. Salary negotiations, you know, KB. I want to see.
We might give them 0%.
No public service jobs in Grenada, but now people going home left, right, and center. Hope was restored. Opportunity for thousands of young people now. The same young people, they slam the door on them. Claudette slammed the door on put people through and say, I won't get permanent and so on. And KB, it's off. Let me take the call.
Hello?
Mr. Carl and KB, and the man under a lot of pressure, oh God. That job is not an easy job to take care of a whole nation. So that I fit my heart God to Mr. Dick Mitchell is a lot of work, KB. And Mr. Carl, no, you don't lie, you love it. I mean, I'm sitting here listening. And I can do that work, but I know there's a lot of pressure. And again, sometimes the man have the wrong set of people are wrong in giving advice. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, he promised the people you make them permanent. Now they reach there in nice top chair and sit down there now. Advice, this one give me advice, this one give me. The man under a lot of pressure.
Egg handle right in Rockstone
So we have to
dance.
look at that too. Because it's not easy to handle a whole nation. Come on. This is not easy. So we have to pray for him too, because all of us are going to feel the weight of the Red Boys are all playing. I'm feeling it already. Let me tell you something before I go. 3 weeks now, I have a small little deep freeze, full of little water and coke and anything. I just sell the water. Somebody will pass and by. And it's not going down. When I sell one water, I put back one. But it's just there, and I show you, KB, when you pass.
Yeah.
And that's 3 weeks. And I remember in the time of NNP time, God bless Dr. Mitchell and the NNP government. That bridge, I had to pack it every day.
Yes.
And I, no, serious.
Money is a
I
circulating.
don't know reason to like getting nation and the world. I used to make our money and I could have give somebody that sit by me for the day a little market. And that don't happening. So that way I know something is not right. Something is not right. You remind me in the time of the NDC, I couldn't pay my rent. And as NDC came back in,
You start paying your rent.
I started paying my rent right through. That is the gospel truth. Nobody pay me to say that, and I ain't getting no handout. I don't get no handout. And I see that with my eyes, and now we are going through a rough time. Yes, it's the truth. And you have some people that are afraid to talk, they're afraid, they will attack the children, they will attack you. You don't want to send me home. Where are they determined I have to spare rent? I know they're free. And I know they need a little money I'm paying them to pay workers. Right? I'm not scared about that. All you have to pray and is really Grenadian people that put me feeling like because you get your pension, you get permanent, or they take all they get now. You can't blame Michelle. Don't blame him because he used to tell on you. And everybody used to call him old and he's young man. And his young mind. Young minds need experience.
Baby Christ.
You understand? I don't say he's baby Christ. I'm sorry for the man. And I don't hate him. I don't hate him. I will never hate nobody because God don't like that. But some of them are the bitterness of Keith Mitchell. And you hear the voice when they call the radio. When they call all radio stations. I have to stop that because we are feeling it. Have a good evening, everybody.
Okay. I need to ask a question, KB, to the government, to the Prime Minister, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, to the Minister of, the one has to deal with Mr. Andal, Joseph Andal.
Foreign Affairs.
Yeah, and your good friend, Mr. Andrews Lennox.
Yeah, tours.
So they're telling people they pay the $5 million to Libya. But we know the situation in Libya. And we know you have about 3 governments in Libya.
Yeah, about that.
So when you see Mr. Lennox, and ask him which government in Libya they pay that money.
Yeah, which one?
KB, you know the situation as it is in Libya. Ask them which government they pay the money because they feel they could fool people. Which government you pay in Libya the money you say you pay the debt? Because we here with facts. All they go vex. I don't like it, but which government did you pay that $5 million to in Libya? That is the question. You don't want to tell the Grenadian people we pay it and that will cause us to get assistance. Because you didn't pay Libya yet and you get 10 million from the Saudis. What Dr. Keith Mitchell and them they organize. You get 10 million from the Saudis. So if not paying Libya would have caused you not to get money, how come you get 10 million from the Saudis?
Well, Libya is a rich place.
No. They say they didn't pay Libya and that they affecting Grenada from getting help.
Okay.
But before they claim they pay, which government did you pay to? Because we know the situation in Libya are 3 governments. Which one did you pay to? So if a next one come calling and say Grenada owe them, how you quantifying that you pay one already? And the fact that you're saying that is stopping you from getting assistance, it didn't stop you from getting 10 million from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So this thing I am not adding up, KB. Lies. Let me hear the caller.
Hello?
Who's on?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Comrade.
You coming in a little low. Just beef it up a bit.
Yes.
Yes.
How is all? Everybody all right?
Yeah, we're hearing you clear now. We hear you now, man.
Right. Yeah, I don't have much this evening, but what I find is some of the callers are calling and condemning what was said. The tape is playing. They're hearing the voice, but they still come.
Mischief. They hear Dr. Mitchell.
If a man wrong, he wrong. Whether Dr. Mitchell is wrong, he wrong. When it's Mr. Dickon, he wrong. When it's Miss Claudette, she wrong. But how come you hearing the tape and you still arguing it and doubting it? I find that kind of thing, people. you hear it, you hear the voice. Those who didn't hear the voice, they see them in the parliament. I saw Claudette in the parliament, and the union leader, Mr. Lewis, actually was. He said he used the same words. He said that what Miss Claudette is saying is the typical thing that Mr. Kit Mitchell said. He said it. So you hearing it coming from them. It appears now that the union is having a second thought. It appears that the union is having second thought now. Mr. Lewis actually said it. So I find it strange, Culture man, my good partner again. You want to ask a question, but you want to answer a question. No, if you don't want the people to tell you anything, then don't call. Because if you call and you make your point, somebody can make a point too. Make good partner, eh? Good partner. Anyhow.
All right, Clifford.
Okay.
And another, some information for the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security. The police waiting on the promise of pay and grade you make to them. Because they say they come back and tell them nothing.
And they vote for you?
They say they come back and tell them nothing. And they promise you will fix the pay and grade. So they're waiting. I hope you don't use the Attorney General to tell them again it can't happen.
He can't face nobody. She had less shame. You go use her.
Let me take the call.
Oh, he lost it.
So the police waiting, Mr. Prime Minister, on the promise you make or the pay and grade, the 1995 situation. And while you're at it, if you need some proper advice on the pay and grade, ask me. Because I know about it. Don't let them others who don't know tell you. But the police, they call me 3 a.m. in the morning and say, when you go on the radio, tell the man we're still waiting on fixing of the pay and grade. But then again, we might hear the AG coming and next time and see that can happen because she see she is unsustainable and they can't pay.
But why using the...
No, Kiwi, you have to
What
understand.
using the Attorney General?
No, that the legal advisor to government. Yes. She's the second most, the first portfolio what will be filled most time after the Prime Minister is the Attorney General. Yes. Any legal thing to deal with is that person. So she should have wait. But if I was on that, take that work.
Carl, inflation continue
to rise.
A headache for the poor people in this country. Electricity bill continue to be a headache for the people in this country. And the NDC want to sweep it under the carpet. They don't want us to discuss it. They don't want the people to say anything. But it's not a one-off payment, you know. It's every month you go to pay electricity bill, you feel in that pain. Every month. Every day you go in the shop to buy groceries, you feel in that pain. People have a heavy load to carry. The ordinary man in the society. People boiling night and day. They expect relief. We expect better from the NDC. You promise a pie in the sky. No, you want to make excuse. When you voted into office, is not to make excuse, but to perform.
With distinction.
With distinction. To correct what is wrong. To make life better. Not to complain. We don't want no complaint from you, NDC. People vote you into office to perform, not to complain. We don't want to hear no complaint. They may take no complaint. Your song believable. More you play that tape and I listen to Deacon Mitchell, I realize young people drink that broth. His song believable. What he said song like the truth. And they trust him with the truth.
The stroke of a pen.
They trust him with the truth. They put their destiny into his hands. He turned wrong and betrayed them. He turned wrong and betrayed them in less than a year. Shatter their hopes. Young people hope. Once you, as a leader, people see you as the mentor, the young people. They expect you to lead them. They don't expect you to tell lies to them. They don't expect you to misinform them. They trust you as a leader. No, you deceive them. You disappoint them. You need to apologize.
We have a call.
Take it.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Saketo, good afternoon, brother.
Good
I
afternoon.
don't call you to ask you one question. Could the government tax people on pension?
Could the government tax people on pension? That's what you said?
Yeah.
I can't tell it from the top of my head, but I could get the information on the next program. I will tell you.
Yeah, well, I'd like you to get this permission first.
All right,
Because
okay.
Dr. Mitchell said he would not do that.
If they could tax people on pension.
So what is your advice?
My advice is they have 30% tax on people over 60,000 now. They could simply put that 30% tax on pension, and the whole problem solved. Them to come and tell you now that it will be on very kind of cancer. But once you could tax people on pension, you could control everything because you could put 80% tax on it.
So you don't agree with what the Attorney General say?
Well, if they can tax them on it, I agree with the Attorney General say because everybody should have a pension to go home with an security so that the man walk in the road and so on.
But as it is now, everybody do have that.
Everybody do have that, and they're contributing 1% to the pension. So I will say to the government, if they could tax people on pension, they could control the whole thing. All they have to do, just tax the suit, and then it can destabilize the country. Once they could tax them on it, when they can't tax them on it, they have to reform it. I believe they should reform it because the poor people in this country, the NS people, they're paying tax every day, and they have to work to 65 years to get a pension. I said that's wrong. I said if the NS people have to work for 65 years, the others have to work for 65 years too. That is my hope. And they have to contribute to the pension. We can't just go
So Colin, one question. So you don't agree with the 1958 ruling?
Well, I could put in the 1958 ruling go in action, you know. Once you could tax them on it.
Oh, so you mean it's okay, but once you could tax them, pay them and tax them?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that don't need to, you know. You could put the control focus, and once you could tax them, you could tax and control the whole system. But they can tax them. I want to know where they could tax them. Thank you.
Now go find out on next program, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Somebody said Philip Telesford had a mild stroke 4 weeks ago and he was moving around still.
Okay.
Yeah, MKB. Now you ask and you was suggesting why is the AG the one that making that pronouncement? Eh?
Yeah.
But remember the AG run twice against Pedro and lose. So the AG is like collateral damage. So they don't care. She won't win seat, so they don't care. They won't give somebody who could win seat that to say.
She's damage control.
Yeah. So they don't care. If the people don't vote for her, they don't vote in for her, they don't care about her. So they using her. Come on.
That mouthpiece.
So she could say anything because you don't need her here nor there. Okay, if she lose, she accustomed losing her already. So you have to understand it's a strategy. The project manager of hate using.
Hello.
Hello.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lord. Hello.
Yeah, go right ahead.
What's up?
Good.
Kim.
Hey.
Master man. All good?
Yeah, man.
Nice. Good program.
Yeah, man.
To be honest, I keep saying, nice words is not ruling country. And that is what a lot of the young people and other persons got hooked up with. The Prime Minister, the opposition leader then, with his nice words. And he's taking his time and put it to us. He ain't busy. When he lied to us, he's taking his time and lied to us.
He rehearsing it.
When we sit down and just go back to some of the promises that was made to us, I don't understand how a lot of us wasn't feeling. I'm still baffled because some of these lies is so glaring glaring in front of our face. But sadly, a lot of us wasn't feeling true. You know why? Because they knew the young and the old people it's time to go. So they decided to vote for the young. Yes, we have a young bunch of guys, but the promise is that what young need. We don't want to hear no excuse from you. We want to see these promises fulfilled to us. We want to see it. You promise a house for each and every Grenadian who wants a house. Make a start. Don't depend on what NMP leave for you to give out to give your people. You know, you promise right in to be very in the new project now. You promise to put us a net, sir.
To collect what?
To see with. We want to see that implemented, Mr. Prime Minister. This is what we want to see. You promised not to send the imami home, but you're making them permanent. That is what we want to see, Mr. Prime Minister. We don't want to hear no excuse for you. We don't want to hear no excuse from you. You will be ending contract workers. But yes, still putting them on contract, Mr. Prime Minister. This is not what we want from you. You made promises. You promised that you will build what factories all over. And what happened to these factories, sir? Only a set of lies, and you have a few people on a morning program. I don't know if I don't understand. By the time you open your mouth, they're ready to attack you as though you're lying. It's true. The NMP, we not say they were perfect, but they did a lot for this. Any part of Grenada, you stand up and you look around. You will say yes, but any NMP did that. Any part of Grenada, you stand up, you could say yes. NMP have hand in that. But I think they're nice out there, you know. And people are afraid to speak. If you go in the ministry like I don't understand people like behind bars and afraid to speak. Everything nice and dandy. Because why? They're afraid to speak. And then people that speak and say anything. When
I cut off, but when he was talking about what he promised, Christine took it out of my mind. Where is the swimming pools that he spoke about?
And the 500 houses.
And the 500 houses.
You don't talking about that on them again.
Forget that on them already.
Just a bit of information for the person who talk about tax on pension.
Mm-hmm.
The NNP government removed tax on pension in 2018.
Yeah.
So there is no tax on pension.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's gone.
Yeah, Dr. Mitchell had promised that.
Okay. So
yes, no tax on pension.
We have a next call. Hello.
Good evening.
Afternoon.
KB and Carl, I know you all have a targeted audience, but information should be clear and correct. Let me start with Carl. The retroactive payments are pension payments. It is retroactive because it was not paid at a time it was supposed to pay. But it is still pension payments.
Why is it? Cut off here.
Eh?
The man cut off here.
Well, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah, KB. So any final words, KB?
4 o'clock already?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I hate when people listening clips and then they come in and it's like kind of annoying, like to hear this.
And I want to see to
play a clip for you and then you come with some
NMPI.
No more calls this evening.
Victory is close. Stay together, stay strong, and unite. Once we unite, next election, we show defeating the NDC. Once we stay unite.
The anthem for the people, KB.
Yes, go right ahead.
asking me what is wrong with Trinidad. You can't understand why things go on so bad. You find we so rich in human resources, and yet the country going to pieces. Well, let me tell you, my friend, where we went wrong. After Eric Williams' old car breakdown, we called in an AR, we ordered an ex-con and installed a new driver.